Welcome to Taco Ball Tuesday.
Happy Taco Ball Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, and not
What
just
a
any
Tuesday
Tuesday.
it is.
What is happening tonight? What is happening tonight, Justin?
Oh, the NBA is back, baby. I know there was the draft, there was free agency, there was preseason, but ain't none of that mean nothing because the season tips off tonight. We are about to get on fire. Dude, the NBA is back. I could not be more happy.
Yes.
Nobody cares about baseball. Hockey is back, but nobody's interested in that right now. People are like, NFL. The NFL has nothing on the storylines of the NBA, and what a night to kick things off. Some incredible matchups. We'll give you a peek as we progress here. But, man, I am pumped for opening night of the NBA, Taco Ball Tuesday. What a TBT we have on tap for the viewers.
We've got drama. We've got spice. We've got intrigue.
We've got injuries.
We've got it all.
We've got two spurned gentlemen who were denied a rookie extension from their respective ball clubs. Whew. Top 10 players eligible for the rookie, top 10 in the draft. Only two were not given offers. And one of them might surprise you a bit more than the other. So spicy storylines already, and tip-off is yet to commence.
Yeah, so let's start there, Justin. Before we get into previewing our top 10 teams for the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, let's talk about these two rookies. I know of one of them, and I'm wondering, is he worth the $35 million? This player for the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I don't know if he's worth the 35, but I think you got to offer him something. The deadline has come to offer like the max extension. So now what? He's going to what? Test free agency? You think he feels put off by his ball club? Deandre Ayton, one of two top 10 picks that did not get offered an extension on his rookie contract. People were signing left and right for big money deals. And the other is your boy, Colin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I don't know if I would say I was surprised by that. I mean, probably the way they went out and spent money in free agency and things that they didn't need to do.
Yeah, will they even have enough left to pay the man? this for that rookie.
They spent all their money on Jarrett Allen. But, I don't know. They have money. They need to keep players around. He seems to be decently liked by the fan base. He's one of your young two guards that you're trying to build around. You've got some big man talent. You've got some talented guards. So I don't know what's going on there. Have to do a little research. We'll see if anything can be done. But yeah, Deandre Ayton, I'm a little more surprised at. I think some people might be surprised as well that he was not offered that. So they offered their other guy that got drafted the same year in the top 10, Mikal Bridges, got a rookie offer sheet extension. Not the max, or super max or whatever, but signed for, 90 mil over 4 years, I think, for his rookie extension. So I don't know. We'll see.
I think Ayton, probably feels like he got a little lowballed after last year's performance, and he was, stellar in the playoffs, just phenomenal play. A little quieter in the finals, but I think it's just a waiting game, trying to put some pressure on the front office to say, all right, like pay me the big money. I came, I delivered. Where's the? And I think they lowballed his initial offer. So He'll get his money. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so let's dive right in. Let's start with the Eastern Conference, or the East Coast, maybe the least coast.
The Eastern Conference.
The Eastern Conference. That's right. All right. So we'll use this. Let me share. So pretty straightforward here. We got different tiers: our championship contenders, playoff participants, borderline playoff teams, not good enough.
One thing. Before we start this, how many roster spots are even available? I mean, I guess we'll talk about this when we talk about the Western Conference and the Lakers, but yesterday they signed Avery Bradley, who fell through waivers from the Warriors. Like, how many? I was looking at their roster. It just seems like an insane amount of people. Like, I don't even know how anybody's going to get playing time, let alone how any of them can even be on the roster. I know they pared down. They got rid of two guys and then signed two guys like two-way contracts or something, but I don't know. In any case, Eastern Conference. We can't call them the Eastern Conference. The reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champions hail from the East.
But so, I think we can say that's an exception to the norm, right? We can, it was, yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out this season. We could – the shift of power may be back east.
So you want to start from the bottom of the barrel and move our way up? Is it easier to call out the best teams or the worst teams? That's the question.
So the list I have before me is the top 10. So the teams that didn't make it, I don't even know. I don't have them written down, but I'm sure we could point them out rather quickly. Let's see. Try again in a few years. I think Orlando Magic, Washington Wizards.
Yep.
Let's see. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, doing your home team dirty, putting them all the way in the bottom, man.
Let's see. Well, I don't know. They might be in the not good enough. I mean, they definitely might fit the criteria for both. Let's see. The Detroit Pistons.
Oof.
Let's see. I would say not good enough, your Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
I would put them ahead of the Magic, though, if that makes any sense. So that's your bottom tier. The rest of those teams I see making the playoffs or the play-in. Anything to discuss out of those bottom feeders?
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, where could I possibly be surprised? And I think the only team that I think could make a run and get close, we're talking like play-in. I'm my stock's a little bit higher in the Magic. I
would say the Pacers maybe, but
yeah, I maybe it's just me really liking this guy Jonathan Isaac, but that's I think either of these could possibly scratch into that 9-10 seed.
Yeah, when you're down there at the bottom of the barrel there's no surprises between who's going to finish 10th and who's going to finish 11th. I'm not going to be shocked if the Pacers creep up, because those next two sort of teams, and what do we got? The borderline playoffs. That's sort of your 9-10 seed.
Yeah, that would be like 9 and I'd put 8, 9, and 10 right here.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my 10th seed for the Eastern Conference pick this year is the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
They didn't make the playoffs last year. I think I sort of flip-flopped them in Indiana. I think Toronto has a better season this year, but not by much. I don't know. But, 10 seed Raptors, 9 seed Charlotte Hornets, your Charlotte Hornets, LiAngelo, LaMelo, one of them, both of them maybe. I don't know who's on that team anymore.
Here's so let me read. As we're going through, I think these top 10 teams, we should read out the starting roster. So the Raptors starting roster of FVV, Mr. Van Vliet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Kim Birch.
Who?
I don't know the guy. Kim Birch. Surprised.
All right. Well, you've got a guy in the starting lineup that people don't even know who he is. I'm sorry. I can't,
not a good look.
I can't give you too much credit, although they do have some pretty decent players over there. But first season without Lowry, I think they spent much of last year wondering whether or not he was going to be sticking around. I think he was kind of in and out of the lineup, maybe had some injuries. It was kind of like a farewell tour. But, I don't know. And I would say if you want to put the eights, well, I guess you want to move on to the Hornets?
Yeah. So Hornets starting 5. We've got our rookie of the year, LaMelo Ball. Terry Rozier, a healthy Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and then our starting center, Mason Plumlee, acquired from the Detroit Pistons.
See, I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about hearing that starting roster. But which is why they're borderline. So, like you said, if the Pacers and the Magic flip-flop with the Hornets and the Raptors, I'm not going to be shocked. But I don't know. I think that's a pretty fair assessment of where things might stand this year. And you want to put the 8th seed in the borderline playoff teams, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, how about your Chicago Bulls coming in, being a borderline playoff team, mixing it up maybe in that 8th seed there? I think they have added some decent pieces. I think especially in the East, they should be able to get themselves into the playoffs based on some of the talent they acquired over the offseason. And, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, so the Bulls on paper, I'm looking at this roster and I'm thinking I would expect nothing less than 8th seed. Like, these guys should be a lock for the playoffs. Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, I think he's a big pickup. I think his stock's a little bit higher than it probably
should. It sounds like DeMar DeRozan. Right, when I shoot, it goes in.
Lauri Markkanen, Nikola Vucevic.
So whoa. I think you're looking at an outdated roster there because Lauri Markkanen is playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's right. Okay, so starting from Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. So Pat starting. I don't think DeRozan is going to be – I think he's going to be average, and maybe he'll play better than in San Antonio because he's not – I mean, with Lonzo, like, he doesn't have to be their first scoring option. So, yeah, I think I could see them here. I could honestly see them, this roster not working out and dropping a 9 or 10. So I guess all that to say, I don't know. There's so many acquisitions, so many pickups, just a lot of like new players on the same team that
right.
I don't know what to expect.
you read off some of those names, and I don't feel worse about them than I do the Hornets and like the Raptors. You know what I mean? I've got a similar feeling there. Let's see who we got in the playoff participants. I think we have roughly, if we're going to say championship contenders, I think the
4,
East,
5, 6, 7. We got to have at least 4.
Yeah,
here.
I think 4 in the playoff participants. I don't really think there's more than 3 real championship contenders out East. So playoff participants out East, 7 seed, I got the Celtics.
Yep.
I just don't see them ever making any improvements, so I don't really know how they're going to get any better. And then I got my 6th seed is the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
The 5th seed is going to go to the New York Knicks. Yep. Man, what a good sounding name that is. The New York Knicks.
That alliteration is so great.
And the Miami Heat. I think that's pretty standard. I don't think much has really changed from last year. I think a few of those teams flip-flop. We had the Heat were down lower. Were they 7 seed? The Knicks and the Hawks were 4-5. I think that moves around a bit. I don't think the Hawks overperform quite as much as they did. I think the Heat get a little bit better than they were. I think last year they had just sort of I don't think they were ever as good as they were when they went to the championship. Happenstance, it just played out that way. But they did add Kyle Lowry. I think they re-signed Jimmy Butler, got him an extension.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going into this season feeling a bit better. I think Bam Adebayo takes perhaps another step forward as a dominant interior big. And I think the Heat put together a decent enough season to be in that top 4 and host playoffs this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Heat severely underperformed last year. They just really kind of missed out on what should have been a better season.
I don't know if they underperformed. I think they just showed us who they really were. I think they really overperformed the year before. And last year was more of what they are. Yeah. So I think they'll be a little bit better this year with, like I said, that the addition of Lowry brings that Heat toughness, that Jimmy Butler style of basketball that's just like hustling on every play. And by hustling on every play, I mean flopping all over the place. So that will serve the Heat well.
Having guys like run into him, yeah.
Yeah. Or sneeze on the sidelines and he just like
flops.
Tossed across like an old Western movie.
You think the Knicks are going to be markedly better than last season?
No, I think they'll be about the same. I think they're going to be one of those teams that gives 100% every night of the regular season, so it'll keep them decently afloat in the mix of the Eastern Conference. But I think very similar to what happened last year in the playoffs, they'll get there and they'll be burnt out because they went 100% all year long and tried to out-hustle expectations during the regular season only to come up short because they were gassed and Tom Thibodeau just destroyed all of his starters.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking at I was just looking at the starting lineup for the Celtics, and I'm thinking like, man, this squad has scratched. They have just been living and dying in this playoff participants space, and they've never cracked. The last decade, like they just haven't broken through. So our Celtics, Dennis Schroeder, starting point guard, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. So we got kind of a similar core there. Smart.
I think Al Horford is going to be on injured for a while, and Robert Williams III is going to be their starting center. Not that it's going to make much of a difference. I don't.
RW3?
Yeah.
Yeah. The dude is phenomenal.
Let's hope his knees are better than RG3's.
Yeah, I think out of these four teams, I think the Hawks are gonna. I don't think they're gonna be able to recreate the run that they did last season.
I still don't even know who's on their team besides Trae Young. Like, there's that guy that's saying Rick Astley, and then I don't know who else.
Okay, so we got Trae Young, Bogdanovich, Deandre Hunter, Bogdan, not
yes.
Bogdan,
Yes.
DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella. So these guys, like, they pretty much kept the whole roster together.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish,
which makes you think that some of those. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to see more Cam Reddish. I think in a full, hopefully injury-free season, which could be entertaining. But yeah, I think the magic of last year, even the playoff run, I think might be a bit difficult to duplicate.
Yeah. So looking at these four, I think the Hawks they're my strongest candidate for falling out of kind of this tier. Even falling into that play-in, which is obviously a spot you don't want to be in. Championship contenders, unless you want to hear any more of these starting rosters, for the Knicks and the Heat.
Well, just a quick starting roster here for the Knicks, because they did have an update starting at point guard, being backed up by Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly, is Kemba Walker.
That's right. So
ex of the Boston Celtics parish.
Who is stoked to be in the Big Apple and is loving it. So Kemba Walker.
All I can recall is that Big East tournament, baby. Kemba Walker, Madison Square Garden, UConn.
Disgusting.
Maybe he enjoys himself some time playing in the Big Apple and has a nice bounce back season after some disappointment in Boston.
Homecoming party. So
that might be pretty cool.
Rounding out
definitely something to watch there.
Rounding out the Knicks lineup, Kemba Walker, RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, Julius Randle.
Free agent acquisition, Evan Fournier. Julius Randle, Obi Toppin still in his second season. Excited to see him improve and get some more playing time.
And
the Knicks roster, they have some good components for the Knicks. I just think their coach is going to wear most of them out before the serious basketball happens. So
he's going to have every guy on the roster fighting for their starting spot. I mean, let's not forget Nerlens Noel coming off the bench, who will be challenging.
He'll have some injury. I think he'll probably end up being this. Well, I don't know. I think he's got some injuries to deal with, but he should be getting some starting time, some bigger minutes.
So let's move our way up. Championship contenders, Justin. We've got our final three, and number one. Why do you have the Sixers here? Seriously?
As a championship contender?
Yeah. I
have them as a 3 seed this year. They went out and got the 1 seed. I think Joel Embiid is the MVP. I think he feels as though he should have won it last year. I think the injury sort of sidetracked that. Otherwise, he would have been the MVP over Nikola, who we're going to get to in a little bit. But I don't know. I don't see them repeating as the number 1 seed. I see Embiid having a monster year. I see this Ben Simmons thing getting resolved, perhaps before the trade deadline, perhaps around the time where teams who acquired new players are allowed to trade them again, and could maybe bring in some key pieces now that he is reported back to the team. So I don't think he finishes the season with them. I don't even know if he's going to get much playing time. I feel like they're going to make a move to get some help, to get some other pieces. And I think Embiid does enough in the East to put them over any of the other teams we've talked about.
Yeah. Do you see a scenario, Justin, where Ben Simmons plays the whole season in Philly?
No. Your king, Simmons.
But I mean, he's good. He's going to be starting for the team, right? He's going to be playing some games here, and it seems like not many teams have expressed much interest in acquiring him.
I think now that he's reported, obviously because he wants some money, but I don't know. Maybe they get him out on the floor so people can see that he's healthy and good. I keep seeing videos of him just like draining threes and like pick up basketball and like, I don't know. I think they find a way to move him to get some decent pieces and keep themselves in the championship contention, because I think Embiid is going to be that dominant that come playoff time, he is going to be a real hassle for everybody else that we've seen on the list, and including the top two teams in the East.
Okay. Just to reiterate kind of how dominant the starting five was. So Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, that's Seth Curry, Danny Green, icy hot, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. That's a solid starting five. So I can respect the 3 seed.
Let's see. Hold on one second. Why am I drawing a total blank on this guy? But they had Tybal. Perhaps, yeah. Another defensive stopper, all-NBA defensive team, right? So that could be
he lit it up from Australia.
That addition. Even if Ben Simmons is out, Shake Milton, should he be available? I don't know. I think they have a good roster. I think they're able to be successful. I think their downfall is going to be Doc Rivers, but I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. So obviously Doc Rivers is going to coach them to a successful regular season and then an epic failure come playoff time. So maybe for that reason alone, they're not actually championship contenders. Don't let me talk myself out of this. They're the 3 seed. Whether that means they're championship contenders or not, I don't know. They're the top 3.
Let's wrap these up. We can jump up to the Western Conference. So did
send up the Bucks.
Send up the Bucks. The number 2, not number 1.
Send up the Nets. I think this was difficult. I feel like the Bucks not necessarily come back because to the mean, but I mean, they weren't the number 1 seed last year. Obviously, incredible playoff run. But let's see, PJ Tucker's gone. They brought back most everybody else. But he gave them somebody to just throw at Durant. Not that that's playoff time discussion, but I think they have a little championship hangover action. I think they're still pretty decent. I think the Nets secure the 1 seed. I think they've probably most likely find a way to dish Kyrie for something, probably to a team in a state without any major policies. So maybe to a team in Texas, like the Mavs looking to try and get off Porzingis' contract or something like that, to take on somebody that they're, I don't know. I don't know how the numbers might work, but I think they find a way to either basically just eliminate that distraction, and maybe they get a couple pieces or somebody back that's an able body. Maybe they don't. But I think they take the regular season a bit more seriously than they did last year, and end up with that number 1 seed. They could prove me wrong, and I wouldn't be at all shocked, because they're just the type of team that would do this, where they still believe they don't have to take the regular season very seriously, that they can just show up in the playoffs and put it all together so long as they're healthy. Because last year, if they were healthy, they would have won, and had nothing to do with not building any team chemistry or trying hard during the regular season, and putting themselves into that 2-3 matchup against Milwaukee rather than getting to avoid Milwaukee and or Philly by securing that 1 seed. So I don't know. I think this is how it's going to shake out, but
nice. Solid looks for the Eastern Conference. Yeah, that's a really good point. I think
we'll check in on these picks.
I think it's a good point about the Bucks, in the sense that a healthy DiVincenzo kind of changes the equation a little bit. They also
DiVincenzo.
They also acquired Grayson Allen from the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think trying to get a little more smaller shooters. They don't always have to go big. And
is that something that is going to improve them, Grayson Allen?
No, not at all. Not at all. I that's just like the insurance plan, you know. That's like the discount Dante. Okay, let's flip over to the Western Conference.
Grayson Allen, the discount Ray Allen.
I actually completely forgot to turn off my sprinkler outside, so I need to run and do that before my whole front yard's flooded. I will be right back.
Wow, vacating the scene of Taco Ball Tuesday in the middle of an episode. I thought that would have been me before it would have been my colleague Justin here. So we're going to get to some of these bottom feeders here. Odd can place them in there, but let's see. You know who you are.
I guess I should have faked an injury, huh?
You could have got wheeled to the back like Paul Pierce so that he could take a dump. I got cramps.
Didn't he, aren't there pictures of him, his pants had already been crapped, like when he was in the wheelchair, right?
I guess that would keep you from walking back.
Another episode.
Yeah.
Okay. We got the Beast Coast here. We got the Western Conference.
West Coast is the best coast.
Teams, honestly, that I'm just more intrigued by. But
all right, teams that suck. Try again in a few years. Sacramento.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Timberwolves.
Minnesota.
Let's see who else I want to put in there. Hold on.
I'll put the Spurs here.
Yeah, Spurs, they're not quite good enough.
Rockets? Not good enough?
Oh, the Rockets got to try again in a few years. They're horrible. They're going to be bad for a long time because they could have had Ben Simmons for James Harden and probably some picks, and instead gave him up for a smorgasbord of garbage that all left their team. I don't know, is anybody still there that they got for him? Didn't Victor Oladipo leave and go to the Heat? All the players they got involved in that and picks, everything's just been wasted, and they really just blew big time. So Rockets are going to be bad for a while. Oklahoma City Thunder.
We got to put Thunders in the not good.
Which is crazy because they still have all these picks, and I constantly hear about how great their young talent is, but they're just not good enough. Maybe after about 4 or 5 more first-round picks, which will probably happen at the end of next season. But I think that's a pretty round bottom 5 there. That leaves 10 teams. So our 10 teams, right?
That's right. 1, 2, 3. We got 10.
All right. So that's going to take us into the top 10. I don't think we need to really look at any of those rosters because I'm not sure any of them are any good. I think the only players that we might recognize are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns.
No, just completely disrespecting the dude. Oh, man.
I'm disrespecting the whole of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Just the organization. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing against D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, okay.
Nothing against the name of the Houston Rockets. I just don't think it's better than, like, the Detroit Pistons. Sorry, Scott. All right, so let's see. Our borderline playoff teams in the West, I think you got the Pelicans, who would not surprise me if they just completely bottom out because Lonzo's gone. I don't know if Ingram – I don't know.
Devontae Graham, Zion, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas.
They could just be if Zion can't stay healthy, they could just I don't know. I like Brandon Ingram. He took a big step forward and had an awesome season and has revived his career down there. I don't know. Borderline. This might shock you a bit. The Los Angeles Clippers.
No.
I think with Kawhi's injury and him being out, I don't know if he even plays this season. He signed his extension, so he's committed to the team. I just don't see him coming back. And they're projecting sometime around March that he might be healthy and ready to go. I don't see them staying afloat long enough for him to want to come back in March. Like if they're, closer or whatever, he might come back. But if they're floundering around, I don't know.
Yeah.
I see them as a borderline. I see them making the play-in tournament, and maybe that entices him to come back, or maybe he just says, I need to take the whole season off to be healthy. So I don't see them being super successful this year. What's their starting roster look like?
Yeah, so we got Reggie Jackson, point guard, Paul George, he's gonna have to work so hard this regular season. Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, and Serge Ibaka rounding him out at center. They traded both Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo for Eric Bledsoe. Yeah, that starting lineup just doesn't inspire much confidence. I mean, Paul George he's gonna have to carry this team hard.
Yeah. I don't see it. All right. And then a team that I don't know if you could say borderline. I wouldn't be surprised if they can group themselves onto that next pack, but my 8th seed, I have your Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
John Morant, discount Danny Green, Dylan Brooks, who I feel like at this stage is no longer the discount Danny Green, but like the markup Danny Green.
The markup Danny Green. Oh, let's not forget a slow-mo Kyle Anderson. Who will drop 40 points, like 2 or 3 games a season, and then average like 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists the rest.
How many games do you see Marc Gasol playing for the Memphis Grizzlies this year?
0.
All right, then.
We got Steven Adams as their starting center. I forgot about that.
If you want to talk about somebody who doesn't inspire confidence, just look up Steven Adams. I think he stinks. Like, I just do not like Steven Adams at all.
Is that you don't like his character, or you don't like the way he plays? What is it,
I
Justin?
just
Why
think
does
he's
he
a
rub you the wrong
bum.
way?
I think he's a total bum. And I remember when OKC had like Chris Paul and Paul George, and they had Steven Adams inside, and all they had to do was pass it to him because nobody would even guard him. And he like couldn't even turn around and make a dunk or a layup. He was useless, absolutely useless. And he just infuriated me beyond no end. And I was like, he's literally this was this against the Rockets when they got rid of all their centers and they traded Capella to Atlanta? And so the tallest guy was like 6'8", PJ Tucker. And I was like, he's being guarded by a guy half his size. Please just throw him the ball. And they would like throw him the ball, and like, I don't think either of his feet left the floor when he jumped. I just, he stinks. All right. Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., they have some good talent there. I think they'll be competitive. I think they'll be in the play-in tournament again this year.
Which would be, pretty much on par with what they did last season in the playoffs.
Correctamundo.
Knocking the Warriors out for that last spot, right?
Another team on par with what they did last year. Speaking of the Warriors, I think they get the 7th seed this year. I think they don't get enough. I don't think Clay is around enough. Hopefully he's back and healthy and can play. He's going to be back maybe around mid to late December. So I think they're going to be competitive. I think they'll be good. I don't know. Are they able to make a move for, say, Ben Simmons and get a much upgraded version of Draymond Green? I don't know. Can they find a way to move some players? I don't know. 7th seed, I think that sort of fits for them. I don't know with how competitive the West is with Clay being out. If when he comes back, they might be able to bump up a spot or two. That won't surprise me. So, I think they're more in the playoff participants. I think they have the best chance, at least out of those teams we just talked about, of getting into maybe a 4-5 seed as opposed to being in the 10-11 seed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the Clippers and the Pelicans have a better shot at being just not good enough category and not even making the play-in than they do being a 4-5 seed. The Warriors have a better chance of being a 4-5 seed than they do not making the playoffs in my book.
But to me, there's a number of caveats for the Warriors to do that. Like, so Clay is likely going to be out until Christmas. That's 32 games into your schedule. Think about how absurdly well Steph Curry played last season, and that just got them to the play-in. So it's still to me such a rebuilding year in Golden State. And some of this too is probably me just having to not express how much I hate the Golden State Warriors and want to peg them lower. That's definitely clouding my judgment here. So I realistically see them as like an 8 seed, and I think it's more likely they could drop outside of that than they could bump up higher than that. I genuinely think it's more likely they're going to drop instead of rise. We'll see. All so right. you peg them as seventh seed. Who do you have?
For the reasons you said, like, look what Curry did getting them into the play-ins without Clay for a whole season. He's going to have Clay for, 2/3 of the season, supposedly. So I think it keeps them a little bit higher up. But
competitive.
We'll see. All right.
6
seed.
Portland or Dallas?
Dame time, baby.
Dame time.
Portland, 6 seed. They are what they are at this point. I mean, they're not making any moves. They might, I don't know, try and do something during this season to shake things up if they feel they need to. I mean, they've needed to. They just haven't gone out and done anything. So I don't know. I feel like in order for them to go out and get a decent piece, they kind of have to give up CJ McCollum to do that. And I just don't know if that's in the cards for them. So we'll see on that. Blazers as the 6 seed. My 5 seed, perhaps a surprise for you.
Phoenix?
I got the Phoenix Suns.
Jeez.
I think they pull a little bit of the Miami Heat, overachieved last year, and they regress back to the pack a little bit. And instead of saying, oh, yeah, they're going to repeat, they're going to be great out west again, I see the West as being much tougher, going to be much tougher, especially the playoffs should teams be healthy. So great run for them, but I don't think that they're going to be able to keep it up for a whole season in terms of getting what were they, number 2 seed last year?
Yeah, we had Phoenix Suns 51, only behind 1 game behind Utah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we see them come back to the pack a little bit more this season, a la the Miami Heat from a year.
I could not disagree with you more. That you're running a little too fast on the Chris Paul hate train, Justin. Because
I didn't even bring him up.
We have Chris Paul.
I didn't even get into the fact that he is like ancient.
Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Deandre Ayton.
A disgruntled Deandre
Let
Ayton.
me tell you, yeah, I want to see this guy play angry because he played a little too happy last season. So
no, he's not going to play angry. He's going to play apathetic. Like, you guys don't want me here.
Cam Johnson,
trade me.
Cam Johnson is going to edge out Jay Crowder for some more meaningful playing time. Let's also talk about who the Suns picked up in free agency. JaVale McGee, Landry Shamet, Elfrid Payton. This team's bench got better.
Frank Kaminsky, Abdul Nader, Dario Saric.
You need to respect the Phoenix Suns, Justin. You are disrespecting them by putting them this low. And time will show us that I'm right. But
okay.
Hey, season hasn't started. Happening later tonight. We'll find out. We'll test our hypotheses then.
I made picks. You didn't. So this is where we're at with things. Disagree all you want, but my picks get to go to the big board. All right.
Anyone else in participants?
Number 4.
It's got to be Morris.
The Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
This is weird. So based on the teams that I have left,
just let it
I feel like so perhaps the seeding isn't necessarily indicative of championship contenders. Does that make sense? Like here's so same scenario basically as last year. Just think of the New York Knicks, but out west. So I have the Jazz and the Nuggets in the top 3 finishing seed-wise, but I don't know if I necessarily consider them championship contenders for the fact that they're going to put so much stock into the regular season.
Okay.
That, like, I just don't know if I can even take them seriously when it comes to competing for a title. It's not to say that they're not. I would think put Denver up. I think they can. I think
outside shot.
Yes, I think with a healthy Jamal Murray, I think with
that puts
obviously the reigning undisputed, well, it's actually very disputed because of all the injuries last year, the reigning defending MVP, Nikola. I think they have an outside shot at maybe getting there. It's weird. We're making fun of the East, but I feel like they have two serious threats to the title in Milwaukee and Brooklyn. And out West, it feels like if the Lakers don't get there, nobody matches up with Milwaukee or Brooklyn very well. You obviously much higher on the Suns. I actually think the Lakers finish as the 3rd seed because I think they have some issues with their chemistry. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up overhauling part of their roster, even though everybody on the roster is basically new, except for the guys that left and then came back. But I don't see them as being a number 1 seed or 2 seed. It wouldn't shock me if they didn't finish as a 3 seed. Like if they really had some issues with chemistry and in how difficult and competitive the West is, that a team like Dallas actually overachieves. Luka has just been phenomenal. I feel like they take another step in the right direction, and he actually doesn't get gypped out of a first-round series and is able to pull off a decently long playoff run. Again, things are still very early. I have the Jazz as my number 2 seed. I think Denver finishes with the 1 seed out West because, like I said, I think Denver and I think Utah, I think they put more stock into getting that 1 or 2 seed, hopefully playing one of those bums from the play-in rather than getting stuck playing Dallas or Phoenix or Portland in like round 1. They really want to lock up one of those top 2 seeds. So I think that sort of skews the Western Conference seeding, but I don't know if it necessarily makes – like, come on, Utah,
You're just not buying it.
No, they were frauds last year, and they're going to be frauds again this year.
Dropping the F-bomb.
I don't know. I don't know. You hang a banner for the regular season – champs. No, you raise a banner for the title, and I just don't think that they really stand a chance. Rudy Gobert. I mean, come on.
Maybe the lack of respect for the Jazz is just because they're not like a super flashy team. Like they have, I mean, looking through these top outside of Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell is like, damn, like this guy
he's legit.
Insane.
He's the real deal.
Mike Conley Jr., Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert. Like that's solid guys, but that's not a roster like, man, I'm gonna stay up and watch this game at 10:30. Like there's not a lot of firepower there outside of Donovan Mitchell. So I also think you made a great point about thinking through these tiers, and thinking through which one of these teams is most likely to win a championship, not necessarily just seeding from 1 through 8. Because I think in my championship contenders would be a little bit different from yours.
Obviously I feel like the Suns have a better chance to win a title than the Jazz. Mm-hmm. I think the Mavs have a better chance to win a title than the Jazz. I don't think that they have a very high percentage of winning a title, period, but I think that they have a better chance than the Jazz. I just think the Jazz will finish higher in the seeding.
Gotcha.
Heck, I think the Warriors have a better chance at winning a title than the Jazz. It's crazy, right? But that's what we've got with fraudulent Gobert and like.
Oh, jeez.
The Utah. What do they bring to the table? If he is their second best guy, defensive player of the year, blah, blah, blah. He stinks. He's immobile. His feet are like cinder blocks. Like, think of all the big guys out west. I mean, is he better than Deandre Ayton? I think Deandre Ayton runs circles around that clown. Is he better than Yusuf Nurkic?
Debatable.
It's close.
Not offensively, but defensively for sure.
Yeah.
So,
is he better than Nikola? No. Is he better than Anthony Davis? No.
No.
Like, the guys that he's got to go up against, he's just – as your second best guy, he can't be it. They need somebody else. Michael Conley Jr. would have to have a really, really good year. And I don't see them being successful. So sorry for the hate, Utah, but you are what you are.
So much hate for Utah, and no love for Phoenix. Not even putting them here in the contenders. Not even respecting the runners up here.
If they are the Miami Heat of the year prior, I got to think they're going to struggle this year. I got to think other teams in the West are going to be like, oh, you went to the Western Conference Finals? You went to the championship last year? Like, teams were hurt, teams were injured. You talk a lot of smack, we're going to put you in your place. And I think they're going to be taking a lot of teams' shots night in and night out. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up the pace they had last year as more of a surprise underdog team.
Gotcha. So those are our rankings, our top 10 teams for each conference. We'll see how things play out. We can have some surprises.
If you had to ponder
awakenings.
Question for you: if you had to ponder, who are we going to see come June battling it out for the championship?
Who do I want to be in the finals, or who I think will be in the finals?
Well, you can give us both, but San Antonio, I don't think is even making the playoffs, so don't worry about it.
No. I want to see. I mean, I want to see the Nuggets. I want to see a healthy Nuggets squad play in the finals. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Lakers are going to stay healthy and get enough contributions from pretty much their starting five to be able to win.
Pretty much any number of the guys that they signed. They're literally like looking at their depth chart. It doesn't even make sense. Like their centers, they have listed as like AD is going to start at this 5, being backed up by Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan. And like, obviously DeAndre Jordan is old and not what he once was. So I'm not really counting that.
So
if he spends more time at the 5, that will be better for them. But
And let me head to the Eastern Conference. So what I want to see, I want to see the Nuggets out of the West. I think it will be Lakers out of the West. In the East, I want to see the Sixers in the finals. I want to see Joel in the finals. Want to see him healthy. Want to see that squad. I think it's gonna be Milwaukee again, coming out of the East. I just think there's gonna be enough drama in Brooklyn. I think there's still going to be some prolonged injuries that will knock them out of making it to the advancing out of the East. So I that's my dream. Sixers Nuggets in the finals. I think it's going to be Lakers Bucks.
Lakers Bucks.
So, Justin, we got some games starting tonight. What are the games you're looking most forward to catching tonight?
Dude, tonight there's 2 games on. The season kicks off in grand fashion. Early game, 7:30, plus the return to NBA on TNT, baby.
Yes.
Tuesday and Thursday, tonight and Thursday this week, 2 nights on TNT. Getting fired up. 7:30 tonight. Not going to want to miss this. The Brooklyn Nets versus the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champions of the world, the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes. So I am going to be tuned in, glued to my seat. Cannot wait to watch this. And if that game somehow disappoints, which I can't imagine it will, but if it does, what do we have on tap after that? 10 o'clock, the late game, starting right after it. The Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes. And the last time they shared the court, LeBron James sent Golden State down to an elimination game with a dagger from way downtown in the Staples Center. So I am all sorts of fired up to see the new look Los Angeles Lakers take on the Golden State Warriors and that late game tonight. I'm so happy basketball's back.
Yes.
I am pumped, thrilled, and can't wait to see how this crazy experiment unfolds out in LA.
Let's go. I think that's a good way to end it, Justin. This is
brother.
good to be back on the Zoom. My 20th time Zoom user here, and let's go catch some NBA action. Let's go.
Yeah, baby. Yo quiero Taco Ball. Follow us at Taco Ball Tuesday, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out. Comment down below. Let us know what you think is going to unfold this year in the NBA. Who you got as your 1 seeds? Who you think going to the finals? Give us some preseason predictions and enjoy all the action tonight, baby.
Take it all.
Yo quiero Taco Ball.
Grace and peace, my man.